Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Hi, Dan. My name is Shy Iland. I am now currently based in Israel since the pandemic started, but lived in New York for 17, 18 years. I am in the past 14 years, I am the CEO of Daisy Rose Inc., which is a company that manufactures handbags, wallets, and leather goods for bigger brands. But we also have our own private label brand called Daisy Rose that is sold on Amazon, Walmart, and we have our own Shopify store.
Awesome. So how did you get the idea for Daisy Rose?
Well, that's a good question. When I first moved to New York, I started working in a shoe store in Soho, and then I entered into a partnership with a friend of mine for we owned a chain of boutiques for ladies. We had the peak. We had four women's boutiques, one men's, mostly in New York, but also one in South Beach. And everything went well. We were doing extremely good. And then the economic meltdown happened in 2008, 2009 that basically forced us to resize the company, close some stores, fire a lot of employees. And at the end of that turmoil, I've decided I had enough of retail. What I did notice during that period is that while business was basically diving in all categories, the only category that did well were bags, which was very interesting at the time. So I decided that my next venture will be handbags, mostly due to the fact that there are no sizing in bags, unlike probably any other category in fashion. So I've decided to open a production company, basically, that will specialize in bringing high quality goods for reasonable prices to the consumers. I didn't know at the time I'll be the one selling to the consumer or I'll work with other brands, but that was the goal. And that was the idea that triggered everything. So that was how the decision was made at the time.
For sure. So I guess as of today, where are your products currently manufactured?
Mostly manufactured in China. I have a production office based in a city called Guangzhou. It is in south of China, about 2 hours from Hong Kong, where we basically have a team of employees developing products, developing raw materials, following the orders, following the sample development. And then I have a very large team of QC, quality control, that are always in the factories, always looking at production lines. My motto and the one thing that I promise to my customers is that 100% of production will be inspected. Not even one single item will ship without being 100% inspected, making sure that it's 100% good to go. So there are no complaints. Customers will never complain to my customers that there are any issues with the goods.
How did you implement this kind of process? Did you spend time in China, or what did that look like for you?
Yes, I do spend time in China. At the beginning, I was a one-team player. When I first started, I basically went to a meeting with a customer. They requested some samples. I took all the information, original samples if I had, raw materials, flew to China, went to the raw material markets, sourced the material markets myself, went to the factories, sourced the factories, did everything, waited for the samples were ready. Waited them for 2-3 weeks, the samples were ready. Flew back to New York, go to the meeting with the customers, show them the samples, waiting for the orders to come. The order comes in, I fly back to China. And, I do everything myself. I learned everything from the bottom. So it was easier for me to pass the information and hire people and guide them up to the standards that I originally required from myself. But now that was the staple of, what the company stands for.
For sure. So obviously being in handbags, it's a very competitive space. Like you mentioned, this high quality, but how else do you differentiate yourself in the market?
We basically develop the raw materials ourselves. We develop the styles, we develop the shapes, the body, everything from scratch. We do take, inspiration like everybody else in fashion from trends and other things that are happening in the space. But at the end of the day, all about, providing high quality goods, reasonable pricing, but also something that when, I like to describe it as the wow effect, or the where did you get it effect. I would like that every customer purchasing any one of Daisy Rose item get the question, oh wow, where did you get it? That's what I'm aiming for.
For sure. But like, do you have better pricing, or like what attracts customers to actually buy from you versus buying from somebody else specifically?
Absolutely. I mean, we develop the other part of my business where we produce goods for develop and produce goods for bigger brands. Enabled me to work with top factories in China, top raw material suppliers. If it's hardware, to make sure that the hardware is, lead and nickel free and up to the standards of California Proposition 65 in the US. And basically, we're at that level. So for me to be able to just change the materials instead of doing leather, do PU, which is vegan leather, and keep the quality. Basically, they're made at the same factory, so the quality is top quality. But the pricing, because I'm over there, boots on the ground, basically, we're able to get great prices for super well-made items. I know that the most expensive item for Daisy Rose right now is $49.98.
Oh, wow.
We're everything else is, and that's the bigger totes we have. Everything else is, anywhere from 14, 18, 20, 25, 30. We try to keep them at that range so they're accessible for everybody.
For sure. So I guess like from the D2C side, in terms of Daisy Rose, how do you measure customer lifetime value? Like if somebody comes and buys one bag, how do you get them to buy more or have like a higher cart price, you could say?
Yeah, I mean, we see, because we're hands-on everything. We monitor sales and we see what pattern is doing well, or shape that is doing well, and we basically expand and create a whole family, a whole group for that particular item that is sold well. So there's always something else to add to the collection. We work hard to introduce every 1 month to 2 months, introduce at least 4 or 5 new items. So it's the customer is always intrigued to come back and check the website to see what else is new, what else can I add, what else can I buy. And I can tell you that most purchases are more than one item, which is a great sign that we're doing well with that.
For sure. So obviously now we're wrapping up Q1 of 2024. So for 2024 to be successful for you, what are some of your biggest objectives for this year?
Well, we aim to obviously increase revenue and profitability, lower costs. And a big part of my game plan for 2024 is to find how to implement AI into the business. I mean, we're in such exciting period where something completely new is coming up, and nobody knows how far you can take it or what you will be able to do with it a year from now. So there's so much currently that you can do with it, but looking at the long run, it's definitely implementing AI into the business. It can be in completely different aspects. For example, customer service on one hand, but on the other hand, helping us design new items. So there's a whole range that we can use AI for the business. And I think for anybody looking to either jump into business or go work for a company that's already doing something, there's a new niche that everybody basically can tap in and find their way into the business world right now. And I think there are a lot of very good opportunities right now.
But have you started that process of implementing AI, or are you still kind of doing research to figure out like what exactly would add the most value?
Yeah, I like, to do the research myself. So, I'm already working with different tools and checking them out. But we already implemented AI with customer service. It's just the beginning of it. But, we're testing the water right now and seeing, how far we can take it and, lower costs at the end of the road, but also trying to play with the tools and find how we can use it to design new items, develop patterns, and that world, which is fascinating, completely fascinating.
For sure. So in terms of like scaling up and increasing revenue, like what are some of the things that you're doing besides AI? Like, are you running lots of meta ads, Google ads? Like what has been like the most effective strategy for you to scale?
Because majority of sales are on Walmart and Amazon, Walmart.com and Amazon.com, we're definitely using AI in advertisement, PPCs and all that. Definitely, Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Another target is TikTok Shops, which is definitely growing and looks like it's going to be a big player in that area. So it's another thing that we're definitely looking into.
For sure. So what would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started Daisy Rose?
Two words: patience and consistency. I think those are the key words for everybody. When you start something, you always think that, wow, nobody has done this before, or I'm going to change the world. Well, probably not going to happen, but there's so much room over there. So patience is definitely the number one asset that any entrepreneur need to have, because it takes many tries, many failures until you only need one yes or one item that will sell well to take you to where you want to be. So you need to be patient and consistent, meaning don't let go even if nothing is selling or everybody told you no. Just keep improving and stay consistent. If you're doing something right, it will happen eventually.
For sure. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for your brand?
I would definitely would expect us to be working on another platform, expanding the variety or the range of items that we offer, and on the production and product development part of the business, bringing on another, two, three big players to the plate. So we can help them develop high quality products while staying, affordable. Keep their expenses at low while improving their quality.
So, man, we're rooting for you guys. So, if somebody watching this wanted to reach out, do you mind sharing your website or social media? I guess best ways to get in contact.
Sure. Our website is daisyrose.com. Our Instagram is at daisy lowercase rose bags. And my email is shy, shy, at daisyrose.com. I'm always accessible, always willing to help anybody looking for a good piece of advice.
Awesome. Shy, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Dan.